I need to show you how to use this now when you get to the machine. I didn't think there were very clear directions on this in any of the books. First thing I did was print out the whole design so that I could put it on the back of the jacket and determine placement. So that's what you're seeing here, and I just pinned it on the jacket. And then I printed the template of the first hooping and lined it up right over the top of that placement picture. Pay attention to which part of this hooping is the side with the clamp that goes on the machine, because you want to make sure you're getting the picture right side up. So I just pinned this on right over the top of the picture. Then the next thing I did was I got a ruler, and when I printed this template, I printed it with the X and Y guidelines in the hoop. So when you're selecting your hoop, I always do this when I'm printing templates. Choose the hoop that has the X and the Y guidelines. Then I can line my ruler up with those guidelines and mark outside on the jacket where they would run off if I continued the line. And here's a picture after I've connected those marks together. So now I have my center on that first hooping, and I can line it up in the hoop. I would recommend when you're using the multi-hooping feature that you use a sticky back stabilizer. I have done it with other stabilizers and spray. It gets messy, and if you're doing that, make sure if you choose to use a tearaway stabilizer that you're using one heavy enough that when it stitches the registration marks, it doesn't tear the stabilizer. I had that problem with a really lightweight stabilizer. This picture shows I have put pins now into the ends of my lines on the jacket so that I can fold back on those and still see the pins. And I have scored right down here the stabilizer, so I have lines to match up here. And here I have folded it on the one horizontal line and matched it with the stabilizer and the hoop, and there's another pin up here that I'm lining up with this line, and then there's another one underneath. And then I'll bring that forward, stick it down on the sticky back stabilizer, and hold it in place while I take it to the machine. Okay. This is freak out time. The first time I stitched something out using the multi-hooping thing, I had split everything out. I took it to the machine and I put it in the machine, and actually the first thing that comes up, it brings a design in the mega hoop. I didn't want the mega hoop, and I knew I had digitized it for the oval hoop, so I went over and selected the oval hoop, and then I got this nasty red line, which means that it does not fit in the hoop. So I'm emailing OESD, and of course I'm wanting to get this done the day I'm working on it, and nobody can answer me right away. OESD says they don't know what the problem is. I emailed the educators at Bernina, and it took a day for them to get back. I emailed my email list. Well, it turns out when you go into the multi-hooping view in the software and you add a hoop, it automatically disengages the auto centering feature. Well, when you take a design into your machine, it always auto centers. So this design does not fit in this placement, but it should fit. If you will go to your edit screen where you can move the design in the hoop, you should be able to move it until it fits and that nasty red line goes away. Now, it may be a very precise placement. There may be only one or two spots that it will actually fit in there, but it should fit. So far, all of them have once I knew that. So you get to avoid that problem. And once you have it so it fits in the hoop, then this is the second hooping you're seeing here, but the first one you just go ahead and stitch it out. And when you're done stitching it out, the very last color change will be these reference marks or registration marks right here for lining up your next hoopings. So that's the first hooping stitched out. So that when you're ready for all the rest of the hoopings after this, you'll do it this way. You will hoop your stabilizer, take it to the embroidery machine, And you will stitch the first color change, which will be a set of registration marks. And you'll take the hoop back off the machine and put pins through the registration marks. This one doesn't have it in yet, it's just a pin laying there, but it's through it. And then you will insert those pins up through the correct registration mark in your design. In this case, it would be this one and this one, and that's how you line up your design and then smooth it out on your sticky back stabilizer. Now, I mentioned earlier that if you have multiple hoopings, you're going to start having a lot of registration marks and it's going to get confusing. So you may want to label those and print templates for each hooping so you know what the registration marks line up with. And then this is the second hooping stitched out. And here's when it finishes, it will stitch another set of registration marks. The ones that were stitched in the first hooping are up here in white, and I left the jump stitches in here so you could really see it, but this one, they're hot pink. And I have 6 more hoopings to go on this design, but when I'm done, that's what it should look like. I wanted to show you what I was talking about labeling registration marks. This is that big feather when I stitched it out, and some of the registration marks I never did figure out what they went to, but I went through and numbered them so I could match them up on the templates. And then I used stickers, since I was stitching on fleece, and put them by the registration marks so I knew which numbers. You could also write on the fabric with a washout marker. If it'll work, it wouldn't work on fleece. But that's how you line everything up to stitch it out. And it should line up pretty much perfect.